So as we discussed, ServiceNow can act as inbound and outbound both, right? So from
Yes.
previous sessions, we were discussing about when ServiceNow is going to act as inbound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in this session, before switching to like last inbound option, that is scripted REST, we previously also like seen this direct inbound and import set inbound. Um, Another one is scripted. We will cover that one as well. So in this session, we will cover this outbound one. So how
Okay.
ServiceNow will behave when it is kind of outbound for ServiceNow. That means when there is a ticket or record created in ServiceNow, need to go into another tool, third-party tool. Getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, so that means ServiceNow need to consume the web service of third-party.
Yes.
So in our scenario, both the tools
Mm-hmm.
are ServiceNow only. So the previous session we designed a web service, right? Import set web services for creating
Yes.
the incident. Now what we will do, we will take another service now that in that we will consume the web service. So the first is kind of you can assume it's a third party tool they will be publishing, and the second instance you can consume like consider as outbound, which will be kind of consuming the web services. So both things is service now. One is consumer and one is
So
provider.
your instance is consumer and my instance is provider, right?
No, this instance, this the one instance which we were using, this is provider, and yours
This
one
will provide the web
web service
services, you mean?
because in that only we designed, right?
So that will become inbound only, right? Then.
That is the inbound, that is publisher, right?
Uh-huh, right.
And yours one will act as an outbound.
Correct.
So that's what I said, I think.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That your instance in which you have shown me, so
Hmm.
that now will act as an outbound,
No,
right?
that
And
that will act as an inbound still because that tool is publishing the web service. Whosoever is publishing, he is the inbound, he is the
okay,
publisher,
okay, okay,
and your instance is going to consume it.
okay. Then I will consume and I will create a record in your instance, right?
Yes.
So that same thing we discussed, right, in the previous session also.
No, we discussed whosoever is consuming going to be act as the outbound. And
Uh, uh,
whosoever is publishing is going to be act as an inbound. So my instance is going to act as an inbound. The instance dev101 is going to act as an inbound. It is publishing a web services that will be consumed by instance dev8776 and it will be a outbound.
okay, okay, fine.
Okay. So now when ServiceNow is going to act as an outbound, that means it is going to consume the web service of another tool. So in that case, what you need to do? First thing you need to define a outbound message. So here, if you will
Okay.
click outbound, you will
This is
see
my
an
instance, right?
yes,
Okay.
because you are going to consume. So here you will see outbound under web services. You will see SOAP or REST. So as we are using REST, so we will click on REST message and you can click on new.
Okay. Inbound, we did not have a choice, right, of REST or SOAP.
Inbound basically it is both. If you want to use REST, then it will be. If I will show you the previous
In.
inbound we created.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come to this one, see, we used REST. We shared the REST. But if you want to integrate through SOAP, then you can use this WSDL.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So both you can like if they are going to support SOAP, they are not going to support REST. Then instead of endpoint, you need to use this URL WSDL. That's all.
Rest
You
of the
have
things are same.
yeah, you have both the options. So it's not
Okay.
here as the previous one we were using as so REST. So this one also we need to create
Rest.
a outbound REST message. So I will click on new.
So it should be same, right? Rest and
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
Okay.
See, you should know English and I should know English, then we can talk. If you know
Right, right.
Chinese, I know English, we cannot talk.
Okay.
So both the platform need to be on same kind of thing.
Correct.
There are many scenarios where you will find like one is supporting REST, another one is supporting SOAP. Then in the middleware comes into the picture. There will be a kind of, there are many middleware tools in the market.
Mid server.
Not mid server. Mid server is a kind of middleware, but not exactly. There are many middleware which basically understand SOAP and REST both. So they take input from one as a SOAP and convert it into the REST and then give output to another one so that another one can consume it in the REST.
Right. So mid server is also used in integration only, na?
No, mid server is mainly discovery and many other part you can use, but not that much level.
In our case, in our project, I think they have mid server to talk actually between two service provider. I mean, one is ours and other is some other vendor.
It could
I
be
don't know
as mid
exact use.
server, another provides securities as well. So it depends scenarios value. So many integration you will see middlewares as well. Like there are many like Snap, I think some Snap Logic, something like there are many mid server tools which they just take input from one tool as a SOAP, convert it in the REST and give to other because they both don't know. That's kind of. So coming to our topic, so I will put a name like create incident, and then it is going to ask me the endpoint. So we have
the one which we shared, right?
So if I,
so this is how other service provider generally uses, right?
I am not sure how they is going to configure.
Being a service now, I am saying they can if they are also at service now.
So like this is again your part. That's why you are
talking.
So you need to in service now you need to configure the outbound, maybe it's third party too. So they will be giving you something similar to this, not the exact similar URL for their tool. So you can put it like endpoint here, and then here you get authentication. So I will say basic.
Yes.
And here I will create the authentication profile. So I will use this one. Just let me create. So I will submit it. I basically did anything. I just let me just show you. I just put user ID and password of my instance. So username and password.
This instance or your instance?
My instance, because your instance need to connect to that dev 101, right?
Correct.
So the credential of that I just have put.
Okay.
Now here the method is generated. So my method is what?
Post.
So I will say post. Then I can rename it to post. Okay. Now, next thing, body. So you need to put the body shared by third party tool in content part. So what I will do, I will copy this.
Okay.
And I will put it here.
Okay.
And I will put here content type.
JSON.
In the header, I will say content type.
Application JSON.
Now, what you can do, you can test whether it is working or not. So you can click on test.
Okay.
Then it is giving you, okay, 201, it is successful. This is what you have sent. And this is what you get as a response. That's what. So
what incident number?
You were getting here as well when we were testing through. So REST API Explorer. So here, if you see, this is the incident number, and now
New incident should be created in your instance.
Yeah. So if I see, I should see an incident with the number 21. See,
Mm-hmm.
I got this incident.
Okay.
Now, coming to making it dynamic, how
Yeah.
it's working, it's connecting, it's creating the incident, but this should not something like this. This should not test loop.
Yes.
So let what I will do, I will create one incident in your instance.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
So ideally it should create, right?
Yes.
In my instance.
But there should be some condition, right? Not
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah. So will like do you think if I will create an incident now in your instance and it is going to create in my system?
I don't think so, because we need to set up some kind of trigger, right?
Yes. So that trigger basically will be a business rule.
Ah.
So what I will do, I will go and configure table. Sorry, not table.
So that we need to set up the condition in which scenarios that
Yeah.
should be integrated, right?
Configure business rule.
Otherwise, what will happen? All the incidents created in one instance will be, right?
Now that method which I defined, I need to call that in my business rule. Second thing is that this one, this is what I defined, right? This is what is connecting with dev 101. So in business rule, basically you need to write some code, right? So what code you will write? First thing, they need to be dynamic before writing even business rule. So how you
So
will
that we need to change, is it?
Yeah, it's not, it should not be fixed. They were sample values. What you need to do, you need to kind of make them dynamic. So to make them dynamic, you need to use dollar and this, and then a variable name, any, but try to keep it safe. Now it's dynamic.
Okay.
So now I will say
So don't you think that the person from which we are integrating, I mean, being it inbound, suppose I am an inbound, right? Then I should also share this information like $_ dynamic value, or
this is something
no, right?
you need to come because you will have to know how it like how it will make dynamic in your system.
I can give any sample value, you mean?
Yeah, you will give only that team will give a sample value, like what should come inside that.
They should not feel that it's hard coded or something.
No, it's not you, it's your responsibility being outbound, like how you will pass the dynamic. It's not my responsibility.
Okay.
I will give you just a sample value.
Okay.
Now replacing that sample value with actual value is your responsibility, and how you will do in your tool, that's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Now it is dynamic. Now before switching to business rule, you need to test, okay, whether dynamic thing is going to work or not. If this method should create an incident using dynamic thing. So to that, to test it, you need to pass the dynamic values as well. So what you can do,
Can't we click on test? And it will create.
You first have to do auto generate these sample values. So all the dynamic values are generated here. Caller, these.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one is not generated? Not description. Okay. Oh.
Description is not generated, I think.
Description is
description is there, yeah. Work notes.
So like if because I missed this dollar curly braces, that's why it didn't generate it. So
okay, auto generate variables. Okay.
See, now all 6. Now I need to pass a sample value here.
Caller ID can be anyone, right?
And then category I will pass here. We'll see.
We can write anything, right? Instead of able tutor, like
no, it should be a valid user, right?
No, but how will that other instance owner you knows, right? What reference field?
If you remember, I told you that's what you will have to tell. That's why you given the sample
Acha.
value. So
Okay.
in case of user, it should be like actually the unique parameter. That could be the email address.
Okay.
Now, if you will click test, so it should work. It is working, and here 22 is created.
Hmm.
So it is working. Now, in case of outbound, the third step is, first step is putting the fixed value and testing it. Second is making it dynamic. Third is calling this method through a business rule in your instance. Because on your incident table, business rule is going to run. So
Hmm.
right now here you are manually clicking, right? That
Yeah.
should not be the case. This particular thing should auto trigger. So to do
Right.
that, you need to write a business rule on your target table. So what I will do, I will
Hmm.
write a business rule. I will say create incident, and then I will say on insert, and I will advance. I will write after business. You can use after or async anywhere,
Yes.
not before. So I
Yes.
will put after, and whatever condition you have, you can put like only this priority ban or only a ticket assigned to this group. So all those things you can define as part of your business requirement and define here. And then coming to my script part, how I will call this. So if you go to your post method, then ServiceNow has given you very good thing. You can click here,
Preview
preview
script
script
usage.
uses.
Mm-hmm.
And you can copy the script.
That is also easy, is it?
Yes,
Don't need to write. Okay.
you can put it here and remove this
Mm-hmm.
parameter line.
That's nice.
Now, here you see these are fixed value. You need to pass them now.
Dynamic. No.
Okay, so what should be the category? Category should be current dot,
You underscore or.
not you underscore, it's category on your table. So here I
Mm-hmm.
want in JSON pass the category as the category selected on the incident which you are creating. Then
Mm-hmm.
here you will say current dot caller ID dot email or dot get display value. It should, you should not send the sysID because other system is not going to understand the sysID. So
Mm-hmm.
if you will put caller ID, then it will return the sysID. So I will say get display value so that it can send the name. Then coming to
This business rule we are writing on the outbound system, right?
yes, because first you have defined this outbound message. Now you need to trigger this outbound. Trigger that, you need to write a business rule because business rule will trigger when the incident will be created, and this incident, this business rule will trigger that outbound message.
Correct, correct. So in our system, whenever an incident is getting created, correct? So that will pop, that will also trigger an integration and create it in the inbound.
In another
Correct?
system, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Current dot.
This U underscore category, U underscore caller ID is the staging table fields
Yes,
for that
staging table field. So that is what is
inbound
in,
system.
yeah, in the
हाँ हाँ हाँ
JSON. If you see this,
ठीक है ठीक है ठीक
and whatever we are writing here, current one, that is this dynamic value. So whatever
yes
we will pass it here. So if you see, this is you need not to put this in your code. It is this one.
हाँ हाँ
This one. So if I will write here as a dynamic A, B, C, then in
हाँ
your business rule, you
current
need to
dot
put here A, B, C. Because you need to tell ABC will be replaced with what? So that should come, same should be in your business rule. Got it or
or
confused?
but in the previous in the previous statements you mentioned U underscore caller ID and U
Because
underscore all the
here I was having this dynamic value as this.
हाँ
So it's not fixed. I can put it as ABC as well. This is my thing. This should not change. Key should not change. This is the staging table thing. This is my own thing, like my tool thing. I can define any variable. This is a kind of variable which I am going to pass through business rule. So if I am defining here ABC or something, the same thing I need to write here, because I am going to tell my web service, okay, when you will call this method, you will find a variable called ABC in the content part of it. Just replace it with the short description.
But that is something will be given by the inbound one, right?
No, why they will give? Like previously they have given you this fixed value here, right? Now you
Then we
need to
change
make
it to dynamic.
Yeah, so to change it dynamic, basically what you are doing here, you are defining a
Dollar.
variable, and that variable you will be parsing through business rule. So
Yes,
right now what I did the variable name same as the key, but you have flexibility to define it any variable, like can define this one as well. Now what this line is doing, if I come to the business rule, when it is going to call that method, what this line is doing, this line is saying when you will call the method, post method, in the method you will find a variable called ABC, like u underscore category. So if I come here, I will find a variable called u underscore category, and I am saying replace it with the category of the incident. So this particular thing is going to replace with the category. So it is not something you need to define category here. You can define another name as well. Then here it will be test.
But what is the benefit? I mean, can't we do the same approach?
You can do the same. There is no benefit. I am just telling you this could also be.
Okay.
So it's not something you may find some codes like you will see this as keys, which is what third-party tool, and some developer define it like another name. So this what we are having in business rule is not this one, it's this one.
Then the variable, okay.
There is no benefit or loss. I'm just trying to tell you the concept.
Okay.
Short description. Then current. See, comments and work notes is something journal entry. So we get it through get journal field.
But why we have not added anything like in the priority or short description thing, dot get displayed value like we added here?
Because for the journal field, you can get the value like this only. This is like priority is not a journal field. Journal means the field. I think I told you. Journal field is something where you type something and then it doesn't stay here. It comes into the activity. But if we type here, it stay here. So it is not a journal field. So in ServiceNow, if there is a field called is type of journal field, to get the value of that in that script, you need to use this command. That is what I told. I think like field name dot get journal field entry, get journal field. And then
otherwise it will not work,
It will not get the value.
And for example, in caller ID, you mentioned display value. Why we can't just use current dot caller ID?
Yeah, I think you need to revise all the videos because it is a reference field, and reference field always return the SysID of the whatever value is selected. And will it work if you will send the SysID? The SysID of this user A in a system and user A in another system, it is not going to be the same.
Okay, then we use display value. Okay.
So name could be same. Either you pass it the email address, like here you basically need to pass whatever the unique value you will define as part of your real integration.
So in case of reference field or any general field, we'll use these methods or functions, right?
Yeah. Okay, then what you can do, you can also put some logs like so that you can see like what you are sending. So GS,
Just to see the in the troubleshooter, right? Troubleshooting.
yeah, if you want to troubleshoot, like if you want, okay, what is going, so you can make use of your gs.log, and here you can put test. Maybe what we can do, you can print this response. What first thing you can put r dot, what was that? First was it? It's not coming. Let me see. So if I print this response body, let's say I want to print this response body, like what response has come. So you can put it here. Okay. Now, one more thing, if you will go to this your method, you will see here set log label, HTTP log labels. So here you can select basic, elevated, or all. If you will select this, and if you will say, if you will come here, type. So here you see this system log outbound HTTP request. So by setting that, all the requests which was sent through your system will be logged here. So even if you didn't put the logs here in your code, in your business rule, they will always come here. But for that, you have to set this HTTP log label.
Okay. So to all we need to select, is it?
All will give you more information. Basic will give you just this one. See, previously it was just basic, so it was saying this URL was triggered, this was source, and
So
no.
this is just to see that what has happened.
Yeah, you can, like, you want to pull a report like, okay, how many incident was created, what was sent, what was failed, all those things will be tracked there. So now if I will create an incident, let me just create an incident, then you will see one more entry created here. So right now, if you will see here, just one entry, two entries are there. Those were which we tested through test.
Okay.
Now if I will create one more entry here. I cannot select ABC here, so it is not going to work.
But we didn't put any business condition, right? So it always create an ticket in your.
So that you can modify with. So if you will see here now, you will see the third one entry is here. So basically, if you will enable this log level, previously basic one there. Now you have enabled the advanced one. Then you can see, okay, what was the request body was sent. Okay, and then what was the response for you? All those things you can see.
But there is no use of business rule as of now, right? I mean, it did not do anything till now.
Who triggered this incident? If you will see now, there will be a new incident created.
In your instance.
Yes. See.
Okay. And we did not click on test, you mean, right?
Yeah, I didn't create a look. So let me now click on. Okay, let's just go to list view of this. If I go here, how many incident you are seeing? 41. Okay. If I go to open. Okay. Oh, I am in your instance. If I go to here.
But it should also be there, right? In my instances, we have created in our instance.
Yeah, it will be there, but number will be different. See, right now here 59 incidents are there, right? Now what I am going to do, I am going to create one more incident in your instance 8775. What I will do, now I will just save. I'm not doing anything else. Now if I come to my incident and I incident list and I refresh it,
60.
60. So that is what this 24 is created just now.
Yes.
And the caller, if you see, this is what here. And the same
Right.
caller is here. The test is there. Priority is one for your incident. Priority is one for incident here. So that is what is happening exactly. You written this business rule, this incident, when you create the incident, after insert of incident, that business rule is running, and that the code written in that business rule is triggering to this post method, and this post method is creating the incident in another instance.
Okay.
Yeah. So now this is how you can configure outbound messages in ServiceNow when you are acting as outbound, and then all the outbound request what was sent to another system, you will see under this outbound HTTP logs.
So there is, I mean, that is automatically captured, right? We don't
Yes,
need
that
to
is
use the
automatically captured.
gs.logs.
No, if you will through this one set log levels. So if you will select basic, all that means you will get more detailed thing. What request was there, what error was. Basic means you will get some like what was the endpoint and all those things. Through logs, if you want to troubleshoot your codes like where it is getting failed, let's say you are getting here 201. That detail you might not get here because if your code is getting failed. So if you will go to script log, I have put, if you remember the response thing, like I just want to print
Response
everything
body.
in log as well. So you see, here logs are also getting printed.
And incident number is also there, right?
Yeah, so whatever response is coming from there, you have it here. Okay.
So that is just one line, right? gs.logs will get.
Yeah, gs.log and then response. So if I come to now, what I can do, there could be further requirement, like you need to print the logs, which are basically print the log, or what I would say, print the okay. Maybe what you can have like whatever incident created in the third party tool, you need to get that number from the response and print it in the work notes or comments of your incident.
Okay. Yeah.
So in
That is
those
also.
cases, what you have to do, you need to read the response sent by the other tool. So how you can read it? For that, you have to again write further code. So this response is here. Now what you can do, you have to parse it through JSON parser. Yes. Parser is equal to JSON dot parse.
Just to give a reference ID, right, of incident created in other system.
Yeah. So what you can do, you can use current dot is equal to JSON parser dot display value.
Instead of comment, do we need to use comments and underscore work notes and all those
See,
things?
I'm just putting this one. You may have another field created on your instance. So
Okay.
wherever you want, you can put it.
Mm-hmm. So is that enough? I mean, that will publish the incident number here.
So let's just try.
But we did not mention any incident number field.
Incident number field. I have read the JSON response.
Okay. Let's see. Work notes.
Hmm. 0164 is 15. So I have it inside the display value. That's fine. I don't pause this one. So I create new one. See, the incident number is printed.
Great.
If you come here,
Yeah.
this is the incident number. So you can put it in any other field as well. So
Yeah.
this is how basically what you need to do. You need to use the JSON parser. So this is the response which we are getting. We are parsing it to JSON parser, and if you will see the response here, this number is in display value tag.
Yes.
display value key. So that's what we are putting here. So like from the response, just pick the display value and put it in the comment.
What is the result 0?
This is a part of JSON. If you see, this display value is under this result tag.
Oh, okay.
So that is how you configure like outbound in ServiceNow, and then reading the response and putting it in some field and all those things you can do.
So generally for outbound, we need to write this business rule and script.
Yeah, outbound you need to write a script. Outbound you need more scripting. Maybe if
Not
you
for
are
inbound, right?
inbound, if you are doing it import set or scripted, then obviously you will be writing through inbound as well. Like if we did import set, right, then we have to write import set script, transform as script. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean for that, but if the fields are not standard or common, in
Yeah,
that case
so
we have
that's
written.
what. Yeah, you will have to. But in a scripted, you everything. If you are now, we will left with scripted REST web services, inbound scripted. Then in that altogether only scripting is there.
Okay.
But yeah, for the outbound, you surely need to write this script part.
This business rule, right? And that also we can get it from there.
Yeah, but again, these things like getting these values, these things you will not get.
Some
Like what value you need to parse, you need to know that. All those things you can. Like it's not something you will copy everything and will work. It will just give you a structure. Then you need to
yeah.
formulate your code properly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think this covers the outbound as well.
So this outbound, I mean the whatever we have learned. So mainly this will be used, or any other sort of integration type will be used. I mean, this import. This is complete import set, right? Import set. There are
This
three
and,
that you
and
have
this
told.
outbound is just no. This import set was completed in previous session as well. This was separate topic. Outbound, nothing else.
But under the import set only, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
no. This is outbound.
Okay.
Import set was inbound.
Okay. Okay. I thought inbound is the the first
No,
import set, and there is two categories like
no,
inbound, outbound.
no. Outbound is altogether different. Like outbound is something when you are going to consume the web service. So why I just switched uh, from the inbound and convert the outbound here, because we designed the inbound web services, and I was just saying like similar kind of web service will be designed by other tool, and you need to consume as a service now. So how you can consume that as a service now, that is what I was trying to say.
Okay. Okay.
So you can act as an inbound or outbound. For inbound, you have three options: direct, import set, or scripted. Last one is left. And another one, you can act as outbound. So
Okay.
outbound, always the similar process, just your SOAP or REST will switch. So if they are
Okay.
if you are going to use switch, then you will define the outbound SOAP message. Sorry, if you are going to use SOAP, then you will define the outbound SOAP message. If you are going to use REST, then you will define the outbound REST message. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So
what is left in integration
the scripted REST
for inbound?
inbound, yes.
Okay. Okay.